Hello everyone, this is your friendly neighborhood podcast. I'm Kyle Swope and thank you for tuning in to yet another Storytime episode. Today, it's a very interesting story. It's a story about how my life was impacted in a very big, dramatic way, so to speak. It is how the film Guardians of the Galaxy literally changed my life. So, let's rewind the clock back to 2012 and 13, I guess. This is before the movie came out. As I was growing up, I was just in middle school then, and I started getting into music a lot. My mom, now, for a little bit of background, I was homeschooled, so my mom, during the day when we were doing school, she'd have the radio turned on all the time, and the local station that had all of the, I guess, news and stuff that she cared about was a, like modern music type of station. So I grew up listening to a lot of that, and back in 2012, 13-ish, I enjoyed that type of music, and I still do today. It was good stuff. And even before that, like 2000s music, I love. I grew up with that, so I love it, obviously. But I started to notice in 2014, I feel like the music quality on modern stations just started to dip, unfortunately. So there was still a lot of music I liked, but still some was just getting eh. And so the more I listened to the radio, modern music anyways, the more I kept getting more and more disappointed. It was really, how should I describe it? It was really, I don't know, everything just kind of sounded the same, too electronic. And I really liked when we moved, so like Avicii, for example, which, rest in peace, Avicii. Wake Me Up, when that song came out, that hit so hard. I loved it so much. So I like that song a lot. I like music like it. Like I liked a lot of Calvin Harris's. I consider it his early stuff. I'm not too familiar with his entire catalog, so to speak. But I like that type of stuff. You like Summer by Calvin Harris. That's a good song. Wake Me Up, I digress, though. So I like that, and I started noticing this movement to more and more techno. And again, I was open to it, but then when we started getting it, I was like, well, now all this music just kind of sounds boring and the same. So it wasn't. I wasn't quite digging it. Then, I don't remember when it was exactly, but the first teaser trailer, I believe, for Guardians of the Galaxy comes out. And it very dramatically used the song Hooked on a Feeling by Blue Swede, which is like the song you associate with Guardians of the Galaxy. That trailer is probably the reason why, quite honestly. But I hear that song for the first time. I don't know if you guys listen to a whole lot of music or if you know what I mean, but you ever hear a song where you hear it once and you're just instantly like head over heels in love with the song? That's what happened with me in Hooked on a Feeling. So I watched that trailer just so many times because I just thought it was so awesome. And nowadays, I even go back and rewatch that teaser trailer, and it still hits me in the feels. It's partially nostalgia now, but either way, it's fantastic. So that happens, and I'm like, whoa, mind blown. And then for a friend of mine's birthday, now his birthday's in September, and I believe Guardians of the Galaxy came out in August of 2014. So for his birthday, we see Guardians of the Galaxy, and I remember sitting in the theater and thinking to myself, like, this soundtrack is really good because a lot of it was music I've heard before that I was vaguely familiar with. Some of it I didn't know at all, but I thought was really good. And it was all like 70s type music. So my birthday, which is also in September, but after his birthday, I believe that's when I got the soundtrack for Guardians of the Galaxy, the actual CD copy, Awesome Mix Volume 1. And let me tell you, I listened the crap out of that album. I'm not sure that there's an album I've listened to as many times as that one. And that just kind of set the premise for me and what my music taste is now. I'm a big classic rock guy now. And quite honestly, if it weren't for the movie Guardians of the Galaxy, I probably would not have been exposed to it in that way. So I like to give Guardians of the Galaxy that type of credit. It goes a little deeper than that, too. But before we get too carried away, I just want to point out as well, a lot of these actors that, are fairly big names, my first time seeing them do anything was in Guardians of the Galaxy. So, like Chris Pratt, I saw the Lego movie, and that was it. So I didn't know of any of his other work he did. And then we also had Zoe Saldana. She was in Avatar, which I also didn't know. Vin Diesel being the big Fast and Furious guy, voicing Groot. Bradley Cooper, he's been in a lot of stuff, but he was Rocket. And then Dave Bautista, who didn't have a huge career before Guardians of the Galaxy. Now he's fairly high up there. He was in that Army of the Dead. That's right. Zack Snyder film, the Netflix one. It's a pretty good movie if you ask me. I remember just being mind blown by it. I was like obsessed with the Guardians of the Galaxy for a little while afterwards. But here's how it really impacted me. Because it changed my music taste in such a way, it sort of set me on the path that I am on today. So just for a little bit of a context and reference. Career-wise, after I got out of high school, I tried some things, tried doing some videography, and I realized that's not quite for me. And then I decided, people have always told me growing up that I have a radio voice. So I was like, why don't I try radio? Because I basically, I go in, I listen to music, and then I just talk. I can do that. That's easy. I have a podcast, so I can just talk about stuff. So I go, and I'm working in radio. Now, by the way, I'll give you a little heads up. I have it's just volunteer radio show for 3 hours a week. So it's not a whole lot of stuff, but it's enough to get my foot in the door, enough to make me very familiar with the radio industry, which is fantastic. And that's what I'm pursuing currently career-wise, trying to get into radio. I'm doing podcasting as well because those two things kind of run simultaneously. So that's kind of why I started the Friendly Neighborhood podcast, which that would make a really good story time episode next time. So, hey, stay tuned. So essentially, it's kind of hard to describe, but that movie set me on a path with its soundtrack to get me to the place I am now today. Not to mention, this radio station I'm volunteering at is an oldie station, and so they play the greatest hits of the 50s, 60s, and 70s, which, 70s music was the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack, with the exclusion of Ain't No Mountain High Enough that came out in 1969, which I know because I work at a radio station now. But, it's the impact that the movie had on me. I sort of can't begin to say about how grateful I am. So there you have it, everybody. That is how Guardians of the Galaxy changed my life. Now, before I sign out, I would like to say a quick few things. First of all, thank you for listening to the Friendly Neighborhood podcast. We have an Instagram page, so feel free to follow us at Friendly Neighbor Pod on Instagram. Or, new thing we're adding, you can follow me personally on Twitter at BossManSwope. That's at boss_man_SWOPE. That being said, I'm Kyle Swope. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for listening to the podcast. The Spider-Man theme was composed by Bob Harris and was covered by Jacob Swope for this episode. The Friendly Neighborhood podcast is a Lumberjack Media production. Thank you guys. God bless you. God bless America. We'll catch you later.